Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainiac Baseball's 1971 Seattle Pilots What If scenario. Earlier today we wrapped up the month of April with a loss to the A's. We lost 4-2, a game that got away from us early on. We gave up a couple of home runs in the first inning, and then an error in the second inning by Rich Rollins, the most error-prone third baseman in the history of baseball, apparently. They scored another 2 runs and the game was pretty much over. So after the end of every month, we take a moment and summarize what has happened for the month of April and where we're going forward. And I think that knowing that we're 3 games under 500 in a division in which the A's have a 10-game lead minimum against everybody in the division, I think we could pretty much rule out winning the division for our 1971 season. So what is there to gain at this point? I enjoy playing the games and I enjoy compiling the stats, and I also get some measure of pleasure out of trying to make a bad team good. But when you're already essentially eliminated from the playoffs in April, what can we do to make this interesting? And so we're going to talk a little bit about our lineup and what we can do going forward, our rotation as well. And then we're going to take a look here at the standings a little bit more in depth, and we'll take a look at the league leaders through the first month of April. And I'm very curious to see if we have anybody competing for any of the major categories in the league leaders. So we'll take a look at that last. So I guess first and foremost, we need to talk about our team roster. Let's take a look here at our lineup. Now, I feel like, and if you disagree, I'd like to know, but I feel like what Rich Rollins does for us defensively negates anything he could do for us offensively. He's batting .400. He had 3 home runs in the first week of the season. He hasn't had any since then. He is driving in runs. He had one today, in fact, and I believe an RBI yesterday. But he's really killing us defensively. And I think whether we like it or not, we seem to perform better when we have a more defensive lineup in mind. And so I feel like we have to go with Aurelio Rodriguez at third. We have to go with Belanger at short. He is hitting better lately. He does hit better versus lefties and not so hot versus righties. But he is coming through. So I think we got to go with Belanger and A-Rod. Rose Skidmore will be our first baseman indefinitely. Joe Pepitone is perfect in right field. Jose Cruz is killing it in left. Manny Sanguillen is reliable behind the plate, even though defensively he does seem to be struggling. We can look at that more in a moment. And now we have to really think about, is Tommy Agee cooked? I mean, he's batting .148 through April with 1 home run. He does have 5 stolen bases. He's only got a .230 on-base percentage. And our substitute would be Don Young, who we just called up at the same time as Rose Skidmore. I'm willing to give Tommy Agee a little more length of rope than I normally would, because he does give us speed, and he is good defensively, in theory. So I think we stick with him in the number 6 spot. If Aurelio Rodriguez could start hitting home runs like he did last year, with his 86 rated power, and start hitting more doubles with his gap power, then I would consider moving him up to the number 6 spot and moving Agee down, but that hasn't happened yet. So in the month of May, We'll see what these key figures can do for us going forward. You know, Tito Fuentes is our leadoff hitter. He's been perfectly fine. He scored 17 runs. His on-base percentage is below 300. That's not great. Manny Seguin batting over 300 in the number 2 spot. His on-base percentage is not good either, like you would want for a number 2 hitter, but he's getting the job done. I guess we could switch Jose Cruz and Manny Seguin and keep that left going. Joe Pepitone, he's got a 10-game hitting streak going right now, and he's driven in the most runs. So I think like we have to, keep him in there. Also, he's got 4 outfield assists in April, which is amazing. So Joe Pepitone is good to go. Skidmore, we need more information. Aurelio, we need more information, and we know what we have with Mark Belanger. Really all glove, no hitting. And it's okay to have one guy like that in the lineup, but you can't have the bottom third of your lineup under 200 collectively. So we really need Tommy Agee to pick it up. We need Aurelio Rodriguez to have some balance between fielding and hitting, and Mark Belanger can be the guy that is an automatic out for us. Rich Rollins could be a pinch hitter. I just don't see how we can start him. Jerry Devanin can get his regular starts as short to give Belanger a day off. Darren Johnson's a pinch hitter. Don Young might be seeing more time. And Clay Dalrymple can't hit at all. But he's great defensively and is good at giving Manny Seguin a break. If we look at our AAA guys, we already had Jeter up for a month. He was bad. Van Kelly could not really help us. And everybody else at AAA is worthless that we have. And there was no AA team for the Pilots in 1971. So we look at our single A guys. And maybe by the end of the month of May, we could consider moving Dave Parker up to AAA. He's batting .305. He's driving in runs. He's been really good since we drafted him in that very first draft in 1969. He batted .261. He batted .320, batting .305. So he's only 19 years old, but I think we can move him to AAA shortly. The same can be said for Mitchell Page. He doesn't seem to be getting the at-bats that he should be. That's a concern. Everybody else is still too young to move up. So that's where we stand. There's nobody that's tradable, for any real options other than Jose Cruz, which we love him. We can't let him go. And Aurelio Rodriguez could bring us something. But nothing major, nothing that would be, something that we could change the trajectory of our team. So we may as well keep him and just work on improving our bench, giving us some deeper options. Okay, let's take a look here at our pitching staff. I have to say that I'm impressed with what we've done after the first, 2 rounds of starts. Getting rid of Camilo Pascual was necessary, and John Gelnar has come in and really done the exact same job as Camilo Pascual. He's been pretty bad. Someone who's unreliable and someone who is not giving us, a solid 5 or 6 innings. Everybody else has been okay. Dave Boswell having 3 wins is sort of shocking, and he's got 32 strikeouts and 38 1/3 innings pitched. Brubaker and Stevenson have done well. Jorge Rubio concerns me with his walks of late, but he's been fine, And our bullpen has been relatively good. We've sort of worked things out. We've let our relievers give up runs. I mean, we know it's going to happen anyway. To get their ERA, what's the word I'm looking for? Get their ERA registered as you're giving up runs. I guess I feel like with Baseball Mogul, when a pitcher is doing so well, it's like they're almost guilty of success, and you have to let them get crushed. And Ron Paranowski is a good example of that. He will probably not give up another run for quite a while. He pitched well today in today's ball game, and I feel like we can get his ERA down. And we don't have much choice because all we have in AAA is Edgerton and Earl Stevenson. My name is Earl. And everybody in Single A is really not ready for prime time yet. Dennis Leonard and Dick Ruthven are two pitchers who will be in our rotation at some point, probably after we do the draft in June. We'll get a few more players, maybe some of the other schlubs. We can move them to AAA. As I mentioned, there's no AA team in 1971 for the Brewers. So, we're using what the pilots would have done if they were the Brewers in that case. So, yeah, there's no AA team. We don't have any depth in AAA. There's no one worth going to look at as a free agent to fill in. So we're not going to do that. In fact, our other problem that we have is our payroll is way too high. We're going to lose enough money that we won't have any cash at the end of the year. And that's because Dave Boswell is getting paid so much money. $750,000, really. And that's by far the biggest contract on our roster. And that's bad for me. I did a bad job on that. I wanted to have one really good pitcher, and I paid him to keep him around, and he's actually sinking the ship collectively. Like the entire team is struggling because we can't really trade a contract like that, and we can't really sign anybody else because we can't afford it. So he's weighing us down, and I'm not really sure what to do about that. Maybe if we're out of it before the trade deadline, there'll be some sucker that we can dump him off on, but then we are really screwed as far as starters go. I mean, unless Dennis Leonard and Dick Ruthven come up and really give us something of value, they would replace Boswell and Gelnar. Gelnar would go to the bullpen where he belongs and probably give us some benefit there. That's our team. That's what we have. We don't have much else. Any suggestions I would be willing to listen to. I always do listen to you guys because I know you guys are following along as close as you can. And I guess my one thing that I'm throwing out there to you guys, Rich Rollins, do we play him or not as a starter? I just don't know how we can do that. Look at our defense here, and he has an .848 fielding percentage as a third baseman. At first base, I mean, he can't play anywhere else defensively. He's under 70 at every other position. If you notice here, it says positions, third base / first base. Well, we can't play him at first. I mean, defensively, he would probably be as bad. He has a good arm. His range is poor. His fielding is poor. And it is absolutely killing us. So, I don't know. And I will listen to any suggestions. In my opinion, he is unplayable and only can be used as a pinch hitter or to fill in on a day off. And we would be guaranteed to lose those games. Okay, so there you go. Let's take a look at the standings a little closer. You'll see the American League average here for batting average is 245. We are under that. For home runs, the average is 21 per team. We're under that. Team ERA is pretty solid at 3.5, and we're way above that. But we are not the worst, which is surprising. In our own division, we're in second place, tied with Kansas City. In the American League East, Cleveland somehow has managed to get a 2-game lead over the Yankees, Boston, and everybody. I mean, this is so bizarre, right? Only 3 teams above 500 in the American League. I guess that just goes to show the dominance of Cleveland and Oakland. That would be a very bizarre ALDS, right? Or ALCS, I guess. Looking at the other teams, I mean, they're all washed. Any of these teams, I typically find that the computer AI will start considering trading players when a team is 10 games or more and back and further back. So everybody here below us, Kansas City, California, Minnesota, and Chicago, I would not be surprised to see trades begin to occur. We take a look at the National League, and they're about the same as us, 350, 17 home runs to 15, 246. And none of the teams in the NL are more than 10 games back. St. Louis and the Dodgers are the two teams that are in the lead. San Diego only has 7 home runs. Let's look at their roster. They did sign Joe Morgan, right? That was a big free agent signing. And he's batting .361, like maybe the best hitter of the 70s. Back-to-back MVP for the Reds in real life. He's got a 92 rating. The Padres got him, and they have him batting third behind Johnny Grubb, ahead of cleanup hitter Dave Hilton with the sexy specs. So yeah, I mean that's not great. Pitching, they do have Randy Jones. We gave away a Randy Jones autograph last year. Yeah, I mean, this is not a good team. They do have Bill McCool as their closer. That is nice. All right, so I mean, there's the standings for you. I don't think we can glean too much from the National League, records, because they're all within 10 games. But the American League West is over, and that sucks. And that might give us another reason to, change leagues or something. I don't know what we're going to do next year when the Texas Rangers come on board. I think we'll probably leave the Rangers in the East for 1 year and then swap them for Chicago for the 73 season. Because that's something that Major League Baseball would do. They would do something dumb like that. Like, we're just not ready to move Washington to Texas and then have them swap divisions. But it would be interesting to see that happen. Okay, so I guess we'll look at the headline news. After today, we didn't really look at, there's nothing else. Okay, and we already looked at transactions. It is weird that we have not had any trades since the season began, other than the 2 that I made. Getting rid of all of our junk. We did not really give up anything in these deals. There's nobody. Let's just see. Is there anybody that's actually making a difference? Jack DeLaurel? No, he's in AAA. And he was in AAA for us. What about Gary Timberlake? Not bringing sexy back yet. Steve Whitaker? He is on the Reds. He's had 2 pinch hits. Dick Raditz has been good for the Reds so far. 9 2/3 innings pitched. Gary Sutherland, he was a toss-in. Glad to get rid of that schlub. Remy Hermoso, nothing, AA. Gary Gestad, single A. Camilo Pascual, I believe, is a number 5 starter. He is on the roster, but he has not pitched yet for them. And Gary Holman, don't call me Gary Coleman, has not played. So, we didn't give up anything to get Young, Skidmore, and Wayne Granger. Wayne Granger in that trade has been great for us. 8 games. He's made a decision in every game, a win, a loss, and 6 saves. He's pitched well enough That walk to strikeout ratio is a team killer. And we know that Skidmore just got the job. He's only played one game. And we also just called Don Young up. He got his first start today. So there you go. I mean, that's inconclusive results. But I feel like we'll have the advantage in that. All right, then. So let's take a look at the leaders for the American League. Yo. Batting average, Sal Bando of the Athletics batting .345. You'll note their ages over here. Because we are in the third season of the sim, you're not going to find a lot of young players in here like we did have in the Detroit Tigers sim that we just wrapped up. Joel Youngblood, a 19-year-old, batting .333. Everybody else seems to be, 23 and older, and that'll pass as we play a couple more seasons. But we do have Jose Cruz and Manny Sanguillen in there. Rich Rollins doesn't qualify for the batting title, although he's batting .390, I think it was. So there's your batting average leaders. Let's take a look at the at-bats. Tito Fuentes, our leadoff hitter, is over 100. Jose Cruz has hit 100. Fred Frazier, the rookie for Minnesota, has the most at-bats. We just do the offense first. Jose Cruz, he got thrown out today trying to get a double. Stretch a single into a double, but he's got 11, and I can't remember the last time I've ever had anyone. I don't think I've ever had that happen, to have a player on my team lead in doubles for an entire season anyway. Manny Sanguillen's got 6. They were tied for a while, and then Jose Cruz just took over. All right, grounding into double plays. Yeah, Joe Pepitone's got 9. He's playing really well for us, considering he's got the 10-game hitting streak, but he's hit it. He's killed us 9 times. He's a rally killer. I'm kind of afraid to look at fielding average. Here's extra base hits. Jose Cruz has 16 over Terry Crowley and Chico Salmon. Jose Cardinal, you got fish, you got birds, you got a bird. All right, let's take a look here at the fielding averages. Catcher, yeah, Manny Sanguillen, not good. How many errors has he committed? 4 errors. 4 a month, that would be bad. And he's thrown out 33%. So, that's acceptable. Elrod Hendricks for Baltimore is the best, and that makes sense. Okay, what else? At first base, Darren Johnson right in the middle of the pack. Fiore for Kansas City, and Joe Torre for Baltimore. Neither one has made an error through the first month. We'll take a look at second base. Tito Fuentes, right near the top. Dick Green has not made an error. Good job by him. Third base, we have Aurelio right near the top, and Rich Rollins down in the dumps. There are 2 other third basemen that are below 900, which is kind of unforgivable. Joe Foy, how did he do last year? He had 35 errors and finished above 900. And the other guy is Carmen Fanzone. 8 errors. And last year at third, he had 31 errors, finished above 900. In fact, he was positive in range and WAR. That's a miracle. Does he have good range? He doesn't even have good range. He's terrible. This game makes no sense. I can't make heads or tails of what the game values. Take a look at shortstop. Mark Belanger. He has not made an error at shortstop this year. He's only had 12 starts. He's been a defensive replacement 8 times. We got to play him, right? Sooner or later he's going to make an error, but we need that defense. And Jerry Devanen's been fine, but I think Belanger's the way to go. Left field is Jose Cruz. He's made a couple of errors. Yeah, he made 5 last year. He's made 2 already this year. But he's doing well. And he's got 4 outfield assists. Gene Martin of the Senators. Oh, actually, let's take a look here. I'm sorry. There's 5 people who have not made errors in left field. Yaz and Willie are 2 of them. Okay, in center field, Tommy Agee. He's always been error prone. He's got 2 this year. He had 6 last year. Youch. But he's got great range. He's got good WAR. Maybe he won't make another one for a while. Rick Miller, Rick Monday, Del Unser, and Ron Woods have not made an error in center. And right field, Joe Pepitone has not made an error. It's hard to take him out and put him at first when he's doing such a good job out there. Jose Vidal has not made an error. Johnny Jeter sucks. All right. Games played, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I guess 27. Jose Cruz has not missed a game. Cool. Hits. Larry Boa and Bobby Mercer both have 34. Cruz with 31. Sanguillen with 30. Tito Fuentes. Batting average might not be up there, but does have 28 hits. Let's see here. Who's been hit by pitch? Joe Rudy and Chico 7. 3 each. Cruz, Dalrymple, and Darren Johnson all have 2. Home runs. This is what we want to know. Norm Cash with 8. Jim Lytle, I think is how you pronounce it. Tony Solita. That's how you pronounce that. Reggie had a home run against us today. Rick Monday. I mean, Oakland has definitely got the pop. We've got nobody. Well, I guess Rich Rollins would qualify. He's just a little off the screen. Let's see. Intentional walks. Joey Pep has been intentionally walked twice. On base percentage, Jose Cruz, 389. Sal Bando at the top. Outfield assists. Oh, wow. I thought Cruz would be leading, but actually Reggie and Scott Northey in center field for the Royals have 5 outfield assists already. All right. OPS. Bando. John Lowenstein. And Jose Cruz. All right. RBI. Joey Pep in the middle. Jim Lytle with 26. Norm Cash and Rico Petrocelli. Runners thrown out. Jim French has thrown out 11 batters already. He's got a 91 arm. Who would run against him? 55%. He's almost has a defensive WAR of 1, meaning he basically won 1 game already this year just by throwing people out. That's incredible. Hal King, George Mitterwald, Thurman Munson, and Manny. The Rimp has 1. But people don't run on the Rimp. There's a percentage. Ed Kirkpatrick with 62.5. What? Wow. Okay. Only 8 attempts in 18 starts. He's got a 66. I can't wait to get to that guy. We're going to run on him all day long. All right, what else? Runs scored. Gene Tennis with 26. Miller, Cardinal, and then Jose Cruz. Tito Fuentes, again, he's not really batting great, but he's getting on base, and he does score. So I don't see any reason to take him out of the number 1 spot for now. Sacrifice hits. Jerry DeVanden's got 3. This is going to be a primary pitcher, right? Nobody else but our guy. Yeah, those are all pitchers, of course. Sack flies. Ed Brinkman's got 3. Hal King's got 3. Tommy A.G. has 2. Aurelio Rodriguez has 2. That's weird. Well, let's look at the salaries. I bet we don't really look at this very often. These are the players with the top salaries in our game. Palmer, Ryan, Joe Morgan, that makes sense. Yeah. I made Dave Boswell the 7th highest paid player in the game because we needed somebody, and that was a mistake. My bad. Okay. Slugging, Bando and Cruz. Cruz is really off to a great start. Stolen bases, Freddie Patek, former pilot. 9 out of 10 this year for Baltimore. I mean, his rating was kind of below average. It's not kind of, it is below average. And he just wasn't hitting for us. I mean, he batted .331 once we traded him to Baltimore. And I did immediately regret that trade. Because we got Belanger in that deal and giving up Freddie Patek. But, what can we do? AG's got 5, Jose Cruz, Fuentes, Jerry Devanin. We run when we can. Steal success, a bunch of people with 100%, including Jose Cruz. Nice. Who has struck out the most? Reggie, that makes total sense, right? Darren Johnson in the middle. Now he's going to go right down that list because he won't be playing much. Triples. Jose Cruz has 2. Scott Northey has 4. I think he led last year in triples. No, I guess not. He does have more triples than he did last year. All right. And walks. Bill Melton has walked 20 times in April. Darren Johnson has walked 16. I mean, his on-base percentage is not horrible, but he's just not contributing. A walk doesn't really help us much. Okay, so that's it for batters and defense. Let's take a look at the pitchers, and then we'll wrap this up. We're just going in order. Complete games. Andy Messersmith has 4 already. He is maybe the best pitcher in the American League. ERA? Yeah, I mean, 0.96. Let's take a look at him. You see how he's ramped up each year. He's only 3-3 this year, though. Tough division with a ERA sub 1. Opponent's batting average 169. That is insane. He's got a career opponent's batting average of 188. He's a 94 rating, and the best he could do is a 500 record. Free agent in 2 more years. All right. Brubaker does make the list at the end. See some big names on here. Tom Bradley. Is he a starter? I guess he is. All right. There's the ERA. Games pitched. Ken Sanders, leading the American League. We're always going to be on this list. Ray Peters, Gelnar, Wayne Granger coming up the list. Roger Nelson with 14. And Horacio Pena for the Indians. Raleigh Fingers. Oops, what am I doing? I'm being a dummy. All right. What else we got here? Who's induced the most double plays? Hey, it's former... Oh, this is both leagues. Come on. There we go. Mike Nagy with 10. And Boswell has 4. That's got to be thanks to Aurelio Rodriguez and Belanger. Okay, what else we got here? Who has hit the most batters? Jorge Rubio's got 3 among the leaders. Who's given up the most home runs? John Gilnar has given up 8, and Boswell with 7. Let's look at his log. He's made 3 starts. He's only given up 3 home runs. He gave 3 home runs in 3 innings of relief work in that game versus Minnesota, where he had to just take one for the team. And, yeah, that has skewed his overall totals. So we can't really count that against him. All right, innings pitched. Yeah, we're not going to have anybody on that list. We pull everybody 5 or 6 innings, while other teams just pitch their pitchers until their arms fall off. Mel Stottlemyre's made 7 starts. Let's look at his log. Oh, look at that. He's got 2 starts under 100. He's averaging 112 pitches. That's actually pretty reasonable. Interesting. Okay. I would not have thought that. Well, innings per game, Stottlemyre and Messersmith, they pitch 8. They go out, they're going to give you 8 innings every game. And there are some guys who are super close to that, which is just dumb. That's just terrible game design. I don't care about that stuff. I don't know if you guys do. Quality starts, not a real stat. I don't really consider this an important stat, but you can, glean some information from it. With Messersmith, Osteen, and Stottlemyre, all their starts have been quality starts. Dave Boswell's given us 4. That's something. We'll take a look here at saves. Raleigh Fingers, you got fingered 9 times. Wayne Granger, second with 6. He's only been in 8 games, and he's already number 2 in the American League. Ken Sanders was, for a moment, our closer until we traded Granger. Actually, Granger's our 3rd closer of the year. He's getting it done. Shutties. We do have a shutout with Dave Boswell. Cuellar and Stottlemyre have 2. Strikeouts pitched. Jim Maloney has 45 in how many innings? 45 in 50 innings pitched, so not even 1 per inning. He's on the Red Sox this year. Cool. Messersmith, Barnowski, Dean Chance, we've seen him a couple times already. Catfish. And Dave Boswell is in the top 10. That is pretty crazy. He's made 6 starts. Everyone else has made 7. And they're probably getting ready to make their 8th. Interesting. Okay. Strikeouts per 9. So Barnowski is the closest to having 1 per inning. Maloney's right behind him. And Boswell is on the list. Brubaker every once in a while will have a big game. And we have walks per 9. This is like the game's version of whip. It doesn't really count. But yeah, we walk everybody all the time, no matter what. And then wins. Yeah, Gilliford beat us today. That was his 7th. And Vita Blue had a chance to have 6 yesterday, but we beat him. Boswell has 3. All right, well, I guess let's just do this for the National League. Here's your the categories for the 4 major. Here's your leaders for the 4 major categories of what I mean to say. Joe Morgan, that was a good free agent signing. He leads the National League in batting average. George Foster, killing it. I did not do the cards for the National League, only for the American League. So that's why it still shows him on the Astros instead of the Padres. It just takes so much time. Oops. Okay, we'll take a look here at home runs. George Foster leading that category as well, so he could be a Triple Crown candidate early on. Orlando Cepeda. If you're a card collector, I think I mentioned this, the Orlando Cepeda cards have gone up in value recently. Probably, linked to him passing away. But, if you can find them out there cheap, I'd add them to your collection. Okay, RBI, Jerry Grote, 21, Dave Hilton, 21. I mean, there's some weird ones here. The Penguin, Michael Lum. Yeah, not a lot of guys here that are going to get you excited. Robert Gilhooly down the list. Oh, damn it. Why do I keep doing that? And we'll look at the stolen bases. Lou Brock, that makes sense. He's got 14. 14 out of 15. He had 56 out of 57 last year. So he's 2 for 70. That's pretty good. Adolfo Phillips, Schlubby Schlubs. All right, Joe Morgan right on there too. Davey Lopes, of course. I mean, there are some real base stealers there. Mike Buskey, isn't he a pitcher? There's a shortstop. All right. Let's take a look at the pitching categories for the 4 major categories. We're going to look at wins, ERA, strikeouts pitched, and save-a-roonies. Okay. So wins, we got Carlton, we got Phil Niekro, we got Bert, J.R. Richard. I mean, there's some quality names there. ERA, Steve Carlton, 148, J.R. Richard, Don Wilson, a couple of schlubs. Lots of big names, though, as you would expect. Damn it. All right, and then we've got strikeouts pitched. We got Nolan Ryan with 64. I bet you he's got more than one. Yeah, 64 and 54. He's on a torrid pace. Carlton's number 2, and they just taper off. Bob Meyer, though, damn it, we got rid of him a little too early. He just never came through for us. And I don't like left-handers. They just don't do well when you control them in the game. He was walking more than he was striking out for us and for Pittsburgh last year. And they kind of turned it around a little bit. Still walking way too many. But at least he's also getting the poo-poo platter with the equivalent amount of strikeouts. Saves, it's Bill Laxton for the Phillies. 5 for 5. Steve Mangori for the Reds. He was a rookie in real life. In 71, Kent Tekulve. He wasn't even in the majors until 75. But he's getting the job done in our sim. All right. Well, look, that's, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, that's just really how much we can really learn from the first month of our 3rd season of playing the Pilots. I feel like we don't have much to offer anyone. We really don't have any trade bait, which is why we haven't been offered any trades yet. And we really need to just be patient. We'll make our draft that'll come up in a little over a month, 6 weeks, let's call it. And when that happens, we can make some adjustments to our minor league system. We do have the 5th pick in the draft, so we have that to look forward to. I mean, we've already showed this, but look at the scouting. Where's this at here? Wait a minute. This doesn't... I don't know. I thought there were some better options. I don't really see. Okay, I don't know. This is maybe based on our current coach evaluations, which is not accurate. I don't think. So we're not gonna sweat it right now. But there's really not a lot of great names in this draft to get excited about. So for us to have the 5th pick, I don't really know, what we have to choose from, but nothing great. All right, so that's going to do it for today's video. I appreciate you guys sticking around. Tomorrow I will give the prizes for our first giveaway of the season, so stay tuned for that. We'll start taking contestants tomorrow. And, of course, we are currently doing a giveaway on November 15th. For members only, it's $1.99 to get in on it for an opportunity to win a 1980 Topps Jim Palmer BVG 6 graded card. So you can click the join button below and you can get in on that if you like. That'll do it. We'll come back tomorrow, play May 1st ball game. Until then, everyone, have a great day.